Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us in what is to be a very special day, a very historic day in our province. And I can tell you, as the MHA for the Isles of Notre Dame, I can tell you on behalf of the people of Fogo Island and Change Islands, this is indeed an absolutely wonderful day. It's a pleasure to officially welcome you to the MV Veteran and welcome this vessel to Newfoundland and Labrador. Before I begin, I do want to welcome my colleagues from the House of Assembly who are here today, but particularly welcome the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Premier Paul Davis, as well as the Honourable David Brazel, Minister of Transportation and Works. I would also like to acknowledge a number of other invited guests, including officials from DAMEN Shipyards, commanding officers and members of the Canadian Armed Forces, members of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, members of the Royal Canadian Legion, Newfoundland and Labrador veterans and peacekeeping veterans from throughout the province, and a special guest here today, Mr. Goward Heath. Mr. Heath is a World War II veteran, originally from Fogo Island, and moved from Fogo Island in 1948 to Lewisport. Having served overseas, turned 100 years old yesterday. He is representative of so many Newfoundlanders and Labradorians who made the sacrifice, and given the name of this vessel, we are indeed honored, Mr. Heath, to have you here today. I also want to recognize municipal leaders and others from Fogo Island and Change Islands that have joined us here today. It's now my pleasure to call to the microphones to say a few words the Honourable Paul Davis, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Minister Dalley. I've never seen you smile so much. I don't know why. Good morning, everyone, and thank you again. Thank you all for joining us, and it's great to see such a fine turnout here for this official welcoming ceremony for the MV Veteran, the newest addition to our province's Marine Services fleet. Minister Brazel, good morning. Representatives from DAMEN Shipyards, we welcome you, commanding officers and members of the Canadian Armed Forces, members of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, and members of the Royal Canadian Legion, Newfoundland and Labrador veterans and peacekeepers, municipal leaders, invited guests, Mr. Heath and family. Good to see you again, sir, and congratulations on celebration of your birthday yesterday. We're so glad that you're joining us here today. It's a great honor to be here today and stand before you today to welcome the MV Veteran to its new home here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And isn't it just a beautiful vessel, do you think? Absolutely beautiful vessel. And of course, it's arrived since its long journey, voyage from DAMEN Shipyards in Romania. And while we know here in this province that we have over 300 communities that access modern and reliable transportation infrastructure, and we know that to them it's important and it's essential, and this vessel will join a fleet that services 23 communities and hundreds of commuters that travel on our vessels each and every day. A ferry is more than simply a means of transportation, though. It's really an integral part of communities in which they serve. It has a strong connection to its people. It's a lifeline, and it's a means of connecting rural and isolated communities to the rest of the province. It promotes social benefits, economic development. It supports the growth of our population, especially in rural parts of our province. It's a symbol of our independence and certainly a symbol of the resilience of our people. The MV Veteran is a testament to the hard work and is a fine example of naval engineering. It, along with its sister ship, the MV Legionnaire, I know you're patiently waiting, Minister Brazel, both of these vessels will be the hallmark of our fleet and will go on to serve our province and its people for many, many years. The arrival of the MV Veteran is a significant milestone in our work to renew the provincial ferry fleet. Since we initiated the Fleet Renewal Initiative a number of years ago, we've seen our capacity to move people, to move goods, to grown tremendously. It was only in 2011 that we put the newly constructed MV Grace Sparks and the MV Hazel McIsaac into service for St. Brendan's and Green Bay ferry runs. And both vessels have had tremendous impact on their respective communities, and we know the communities are very proud of their vessels. The MV Veteran will have a similar impact on the people of Fogo Island and Change Islands. Appreciating the importance of having a reliable connection to the rest of the province, our government works diligently to manage the challenges of transportation requirements in one of the world's harshest marine environments, which is renowned for high winds, ice, and rough seas. And I experienced that this past winter when I visited Fogo Island with Minister Dalley, and it was certainly a harsh environment, lots of ice, and it was an interesting experience. But we know and respect the fact that people in these communities have to travel in those circumstances on a regular basis. The design and the capacity of this vessel will ensure that it remains an essential transportation link for the region and supports our mission of providing the safest, most reliable ferry service possible to our residents. The name Veteran is a fitting tribute to the many Newfoundlanders and Labradorians that served and continue to serve in conflicts and overseas and abroad. Their sacrifices have left a significant mark on our society, and for that we'll be eternally grateful. The name MV Veteran is a tribute to their contribution to our people of our province, to our society, and also to those who currently participate in campaigns around the world. With every trip, this vessel will stand as a reminder of the bravery of all who have served the people of the world from Newfoundland and Labrador. And as you may know, as part of our original naming process, local municipalities, ferry users and committees, and schools and communities were invited to suggest the name of special individuals for various areas of the vessel. The submissions were very thought out, and they reflected in a very good way the culture, the economy, and the sense of community that is so prevalent for Fogo Island and Change Islands. So today, you will be some of the first people to visit the R.A. Scammell Observation Deck, named after the composer of that well-known song, The Squid Jigging Ground, and Margaret Cobb Lounge, named after Miss Cobb, who served as a nurse aboard the MV Easter Seal, and also the Chaffee Miller Lounge, named after Captain Fred Chaffee and Captain Patrick Miller, both former ferry operators who worked in the region. And once again, a fitting tribute to those who served their communities that will live for many, many years to come. This is a momentous occasion. The MV Veteran will be a big part of Fogo Island and Change Islands. So too will be the MV Legionnaire, the sister ship when it arrives in the province in 2016 to begin serving the residents of Bell Island in Conception Bay. So I want to thank all of you for joining us for this special occasion. And as we tour the vessel today, think about the veterans, and think about the conditions, think about the challenges that they face. And while we know that this vessel will also face harsh conditions, harsh northern climates, wind and rain and heavy seas, we know that the Veteran is a symbol of hope and future for Newfoundland and Labrador. It's a respectful symbol of those who have given their lives and gave so much in conflicts for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. We'll continue to make investments to support our marine transportation, which will in turn support the people of our province. And together we'll provide a transportation network like we've never seen before. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day and enjoy this vessel. It's a great day to celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. And while there's many people in this room who've played a role in getting us here today from the start of, a ferry plan and what we would do and implement over the years and how we got here today. So, on behalf of the people of Fogo Island and Change Islands, I want to thank all of you for the role that you played in making this happen today. For ferry users, there's always challenges, and communication and constant contact with the Department of Transportation and Works, with those who are responsible for marine services, is absolutely critical. And I can say that the relationship that I know the people I represent have, and I know the people of Bell Island have, with the minister responsible for Transportation and Works, Mr. David Brazel, has been very, very important, and he takes the job very seriously, and he's a great help to ferry users and trying to deal with the many challenges that come about. And Mr. Brazel, I want to recognize your efforts in working with ferry users of Change Islands and Fogo Island, and really appreciate it. And without further ado, I would ask the minister to come forward. Mr. David Brazel.
Thank you, Minister, Premier, officials, Jan, and the other officials here from DAMEN. Ladies and gentlemen, ferry users committees, the industry here, we have a number of people from the industry, municipal leaders here, I see a number of mayors here and councillors. Welcome, everybody. The media, I want to include everybody, staff from TW who are very integral when it comes to ensuring that we have a good ferry service for the people of this province. But I particularly want to acknowledge my fellow Legionnaires, but in particular in this case, the veterans in the audience here, and our special guest today, the young man here from Fogo Island, who we'll get a chance to acknowledge a little later. This indeed is an historic occasion for Newfoundland and Labrador as we welcome the MV Veteran to its new home. This vessel is the first of two new 80-meter roll-on, roll-off passenger ferries that have been constructed for the province in Galanz, Romania by DAMEN Shipyards. The vessel is designed for ice operations and equipped with two thrusters for optical year-round use. The vessel can transport approximately 60 vehicles and 200 passengers. The vessel is also constructed to be accessible for persons with disabilities. The vessel has a maximum speed of 14 knots and is ice-class vessel. As the Premier noted, this new vessel is part of our government's ongoing fleet renewal, including two new 42-meter vessels in service, Green Bay and St. Brennan's, and two new 80-meter vessels in progress, Fogo Island, Change Islands, which you see here today, and the Legionnaire for Bell Island. The MV Veteran will officially begin service for Fogo Island, Change Islands route in November, after local sea trials and training takes place. Our provincial ferry service operates at a high level with close to 94% of all trips being on time over the last 2 years. Socially and economically, ferry services in this province is an integral part of the communities which it services. This service is responsive to the needs of residents and businesses. Annually, we move more than 900,000 passengers, 400,000 vehicles, and 20,000 tons of freight. The Bell Island Ferry service alone surpasses the total number of passengers and vehicles that use Marine Atlantic. Our government is working diligently to ensure all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians have access to reliable marine transportation. Examples of our work surrounding fleet renewal and service improvements include expression of interest to form of a request for proposals for management of the marine services on the south coast of the province and also the south coast of Labrador, increased passenger capacity for Southeast Bight ferry service. The MV Norcon Oceanus now has a maximum capacity of 36 passengers, up from 12, which increases the ability for that community to service its people. $13.1 million this year for renovations to wharf infrastructure to accommodate the two new vessels. DAMEN Shipyards is an international leader in shipbuilding. They have an exceptional track record for building ferries. They also have a clear commitment to Newfoundland and Labrador and the two new ferries we've committed. To support the MV Veteran and the MV Legionnaire, DAMEN will be establishing a local service centre to coordinate ongoing maintenance and repairs to the vessels as needed right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. We appreciate their commitment to the success of our provincial ferry fleet. While the vessel was constructed in Romania by DAMEN, a number of Canadian companies had a hand in the construction as well. Companies like Texel Marine, Niagara Belcom, and others contributed in a significant way to the construction of this vessel, both Canadian companies. We're proud of the partnerships that have been formed between DAMEN and other companies in Canada. These partnerships provide direct benefits to the Canadian economy. On behalf of the provincial government, I offer our sincere appreciation to DAMEN Shipyard building team and their employees. Thank you, Jan, again. And it was a privilege to be in Romania and to see the commitment of the people of Galants and the DAMEN Shipyard there, and how they take the pride in this, and they see this as something that's very important to them also. As a result of extensive cooperation, partnership building, and hard work, that the vessels have become a reality for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. We also want to acknowledge today the work of Martin Johnson, our on-site supervisor previously stationed in Romania, who passed away recently. Martin's contribution to this project is well known and will not be forgotten. Our government is committed to providing a ferry service that is safe, reliable, and sustainable, and more importantly, affordable for the taxpayers and the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. Residents, businesses, and visitors of Newfoundland and Labrador need a strong transportation network, and the MV Veteran will be a significant addition to this. Thank you to the residents, users committee members, community representatives, and many others who have joined us today to see the magnificent vessel firsthand. I look forward to the vessels officially taking over the Fogo Change Island ferry run in a couple of weeks. To the crew of the vessel, I wish you fair wind, calm seas, and as you embark on the next leg of your journey to the northeast coast of Newfoundland and Labrador, we look forward to having this as a valued asset for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Brazel. This spectacular vessel was built by DAMEN Shipyards in Romania over the last 2 years, along with the soon-to-be-completed sister ship, the MV Legionnaire. DAMEN is an international and family-owned shipbuilder with Dutch roots. They design and build innovative ships of excellent quality, which is quite obvious here today, and I'm sure as we get to tour the vessel, you'll have a greater appreciation. It's very, very impressive. I'd now like to call on the other gentleman on the stage here, Jan van Hogerwou of DAMEN, to say a few words.
Premier, Minister Dalley, Minister Brazel, Deputy Minister Companion, Assistant Deputy Minister Max Harvey, Stephen Mulroney, Director Vessel Replacement, and Patrick, who I understand is not here today, who is in Galats. Well, we're here today. We made it. We did it. The beautiful Veteran has arrived and is almost ready to start her service. As with every shipbuilding project, we of course have had our challenges as well. The Fleetway Nudie Hansen design was approved by class in 2010, and regulations around ice class and some of the safety requirements had changed considerably in 2014 when we started construction. This would have resulted in a considerable higher cost and longer delivery time. But it didn't. We made a commitment to the government. We also were faced with an engine failure during the delivery trip. Drastic measures were taken by DAMEN, and together with the engine manufacturer, a daughter of the Rolls-Royce Corporation, we decided to return the vessel to the shipyard in Romania to replace one of the entire engines. Decisions that, I dare to say, at many other shipyards would have most likely have resulted in extra cost for the customer, and certainly longer delivery time. However, we had committed to a price and we had committed to a delivery date, and that was non-negotiable for me, but also for the government. The Veteran is here today at contract value, but we did not make the delivery date. We are actually a few days late because we had to shelter in the Azores for Hurricane Joaquin. The Veteran. What does the word veteran really mean? I looked it up in Wikipedia last night, and it says, a person who served in the armed forces. For us, it means something slightly more than that. We see the Canadian veteran as the heroes that liberated the Netherlands from the Nazis. This ship will always have a special meaning for us Dutch people. With the delivery of this vessel, the partnership between the Department of Transportation and DAMEN really starts. We've teamed up with a local service provider, and we have trained their technicians to be able to fix and maintain the Veteran and the Legionnaire where needed and when needed. This ship needs to guarantee, and it will, a safe and dependable form of transportation for the Fogo and Chase Islands residents between island and shore. And DAMEN will support this operation for many, many years to come. It just all started. Congratulations, good sailing.
Now please welcome Major Sean Sampson and Captain Glenn Eagleson, chaplains with the Canadian Forces Station St. John's, to deliver a prayer of blessing and a prayer for safe travels. Gentlemen.
Creator and God of boundless love, at the beginning of creation, your spirit hovered over the deep. You called forth every creature, and the seas teemed with life. Your Son calmed the seas of Galilee, brought his disciples to safety, and filled their nets. He has given us rich harvests of salvation. We ask you now to bless this ferry, the equipment, and all who serve on it, and those who would use it. Protect them from every danger of wind and rain and the perils of the deep. Bring all to the harbor of light and peace, and may your saving power guide and protect all of us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Eternal Lord God, creator of earth and sky and sea, be pleased to receive into thy protection all who go down to the sea in ships and occupy their business in great waters. Preserve them in body and soul, prosper their labors with good success. In all time of danger be their defense, and bring them to the haven where they would be. For all who would travel upon this vessel, watch over and preserve them, that they may too arrive safely to their loved ones. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to further commemorate the arrival of the MV Veteran, Premier Davis, Minister Brazel, and DAMEN representatives will sign the ceremonial document of final delivery and acceptance for the vessel. I ask them now to move to the table to the side for the official signing, and certainly invite media to come forward for pictures. Thank you. And this is, as you can tell, a very special occasion. But I just want to share with you a little bit, because I would guess many of you are not ferry users, other than perhaps visiting from time to time. There are people in the room from Fogo Island and Change Islands. There are people here from Bell Island as well that depend on the ferry service day in and day out, 365 days a year. As the MHA representing Fogo Island and Change Islands for 8 years, I can tell you I've lived the challenges of depending on a ferry. Our fleet, our ferry fleet, we have great crews, but it's old. We made a decision, it was a vision, a plan, that we needed to replace the vessels. We need to renew the fleet. Our government committed, and we're delivering on that commitment. What we're seeing here today will not only benefit Fogo Island and Change Islands, but all ferry users around the province, because what we're doing is adding capacity, adding reliability. For Fogo Island and Change Islands, it's been a long time coming. We've done significant investments to improve the ferry services, from ticket offices to reducing rates, to investments in wharf infrastructure, to adding a second vessel in peak traffic times, to extending schedules, to being there to respond when needed, when a vessel is broke down or when there's emergency call-outs and we need other forms of transportation. We've been there to respond. But what we have done here today is provided a new opportunity for these people to live their lives in a way that we all would like to be able to travel when they need to, and have this vessel to be a cornerstone for future services for many, many, many years to come. And places like Fogo Island, I can tell you right now, probably has one of the strongest rural economies in the province. And this will absolutely enhance their quality of life, as well as the opportunities to grow business and to develop their economy. And as their MHA, I can tell you, I'm extremely proud that our government has delivered on what they said they would do. And thank you, Premier, and previous premiers and other ministers that are in the room. I certainly want to acknowledge your efforts as well. A great day, let me tell you, for all of us that use the ferry, depend on the ferry, and a proud day in Newfoundland and Labrador. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the official ceremony today. I want to thank the Royal Newfoundland Regiment Musical Ensemble and members of the Celtic Fiddlers for being part of today's ceremony. I want to thank as well Major Sampson and Captain Eagleson for their blessings and being part of our celebration. As well, thank you to all of you who've played a role and played a part in making this a reality. It's an absolute wonderful day for Newfoundland and Labrador. It secures transportation for people living on our islands, very important part of Newfoundland and Labrador. As we all know, our roots go back to rural Newfoundland and Labrador, and today is indeed a very symbolic day, a very proud day for Newfoundland and Labrador as we honor our veterans, as well as improving life and quality of life in our province.